Hi everybody, so today we're going to talk about trauma desi parents give to their children. That includes Indian parents, that includes Pakistani parents, that includes Bangladeshi parents, or wherever in South Asia you're looking at this video from. Because this, I think, is a very important issue that we don't really talk about enough. And we don't talk about it enough because of a few reasons. The first one is because our parents, they literally do everything for us, they sacrifice their own life, they're everything for us, and now we are in this guilt shaming, guilt tripping scenario that because they did so much for us, now we are just supposed to ignore all the red flags and just be like, yes, we deserve this. Well, I understand, like, parents, like, they do a lot for us, but that does not justify a lot that they do to give us trauma as well. So we're going to talk about the traumatic part, and nothing justifies the trauma, right? So, the first thing that I think we need to talk about, and it might not even sound that traumatic, but it is hugely traumatic, I'd say. And it is excessive negative talk. Now, why is it wrong? You might ask me. Well, it is wrong because of a few reasons. The first one has got to be, see, you're always told, yeah, you're a lazy brat. You're like good for nothing. You're like absolutely useless. And these are the things that you keep on hearing, like as soon as you wake up in the morning till you go to bed, and eventually you start personifying that personality as well. You start becoming that as well without even realizing, without even wanting to become that. And I think that's absolutely wrong. Like absolutely wrong. When these affirmations, like these negative affirmations are fed into your subconscious mind, you eventually start, impersonating those things as well. And that is why it is wrong. They should be like really careful about what they think about their children as well, and should be a little more, positive with whatever affirmations they give us at least. And I think this is very traumatic because it gives you all these things that it feeds you all this information about yourself in your subconscious mind that you don't even want, like all of these negative affirmations that you don't even want to associate yourself with, you eventually have to associate yourself with because of the excessive negative talk. The second thing that I think is a very big issue again is excessive strictness. Like I'm starting with like very low key issues, like very small issues that I think are not that big of a deal, or people think that are not big of a deal, but they actually are. Now in this category, I think the big issue is that because you're like super strict, you're like, yes, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, and so this is only like the category of things that you can do. Now you can't tell them anything, you don't have a friendly relationship with them, and therefore you become a traitor. Yeah, you heard me right. You become a traitor to reach these things that you have been told that you cannot do, that you cannot access, that you cannot, be a part of. Now, because you have been only expected to do and go do this, you'll do anything, but this category of things. And that is why it is wrong. And that is why I think a lot of parents have like issues with, I think, being friendly with their children or teaching them why something is wrong. Like, you don't want me to do this, right? You don't want me to do that, right? Why shouldn't I do that? Because I said so. Well, that is not how it works, honestly. And I think that's a very, very integrally essential issue to talk about as well, because their logical, reasoning ends with because we said so, because that's what everybody says. That's the only thing that they really care about. And I think that's messed up too, because they don't give you logical explanations to those things and you just become a traitor. And I think that's really it. And another thing that I think we should be talking about, it has to be like abusive, language. Now I think this is where like actual trauma begins from, like actual irreversible trauma. This is when both of your parents are psychopaths and they don't really understand what they've got is a blessing as well. Honestly, like if having supportive parents is a blessing, then having children is a blessing as well, apparently. Okay. And with this thing, abusive language, the big issue is that you don't really know what's going on. you're like scared for your life. You're scared, like you get this trauma. Like for example, you always hear them shouting at you, you always hear them using very bad language towards you. And it's different from excessive negative talk as well, because this one is like absolutely abusive. What am I saying? Yeah, abusive. Okay, this is like absolutely traumatizing language. And when they are done with this abusive language thing, or session, or whatever you want to call it, you just sit down and you go like, what just happened? Like it gives you trauma for weeks apparently. And that is just the trauma that you feel like consciously around you for weeks. But the subconscious part of it, it remains like for as long as you probably live, or at least if you haven't healed yourself, that remains for the rest of your life. So I think this is very messed up, and parents who do this, for the love of God, this surely is gonna fuck up your children's mental health. And if you even slightly care about it or your children, you really need to understand that. And the third thing is, I think also something that is related to abusive language has to be that parents somehow think that giving food, shelter, a house, that's literally what the job is. I mean, yes, it's a very essential job. Like, if you don't have food and shelter, just don't have children in the first place. But that is not the whole job. The whole job is being and frank towards friendly and frank towards your children as well. Oh Lord. And frank towards your children as well, so they can at least trust you with their information. Be a good friend of theirs, right? Yeah, right. Another thing is physical abuse. I mean, this is like the peak insanity. Like, this is the peak insanity of parenthood. Desi parenthood, which is physical abuse. I mean, when you are a kid, I think a slap or two would like probably make sense, although it's not absolutely justifiable, okay? But like a light pat on the back or something like that is understandable. But when you're above 18, or at least above like 12, this thing is sort of messed up, I think. This is like absolutely messed up. If it's like total insane abuse, then though, like, you should definitely, like, I don't know, go talk to like somebody more experienced in that. But I think it's absolutely messed up. Like, a slap after this age, or like getting beaten up after this age, is absolutely the insanity of desi parenthood. And this should be like literally banned, and it should be like criminal act. But then again, it's normal. It's normalized, and it shouldn't be normal. It shouldn't be normalized at all. Because what this leaves you with is like, for example, like, these are your parents, okay? They love you, they like give you all that they can, and they hit you. Like, what do you understand from this? Like, mentally, you just get traumatized. You're just like, wow, so the most amazing people in my life, the most like all those people in my life that really care about me, that are my parents, they end up beating me as well. Like, this just doesn't add up in your brain, and you get traumatized because of this as well. You get like unhealed trauma for the rest of your life. And that's something that I think we should be talking about it as well. And another thing that I think is very important has to be comparing your children. Like, again, a smaller issue, comparing your children to others, or like giving affection based on mood. Like, why does it fuck a child's brain up? I'm going to tell you that as well. Affection based on mood. First of all, comparing your children to others. See, something that is wrong with it is, why don't the kids compare the parents to other parents? Because comparison is a thief of joy, and it shouldn't be normalized in any sort of relationship, especially like the first ever human relationship that a child has. It shouldn't be the one that stems from comparing your children to others' accomplishments. Everybody is different, right? So, like, constantly telling them that this person has done this person has done this, you have done nothing, then excessive negative talk that comes with it, that genuinely gives you very, very low self esteem. So you go into the real world and you see yourself that way. You're like, okay, so I'm not better than this person, I'm not better than that person. You just keep on comparing yourself for the rest of your life because that is what you have been taught from a very early age, that you're supposed to be better than others, that you're supposed to always understand how far you have come in your life by comparing yourself to others around you. And that is just so messed up. And I think that is so insanely, you know, traumatic as well. Another thing I think is affection based on mood. Now, why does it fuck a child's brain up? Is because you get attachment issues. Like, you never know what to expect from your parents. Like, they could be harsh today, they could be nice tomorrow, they could be harsh the next day again, and nice again. So it's like a spectrum that you have to understand. You have to understand their moods, you have to like understand every single thing. And this, I think, is again very, very wrong because it gives you attachment issues. It gives you like avoidant attachment or anxious attachment. You're like always in other relationships in your life. You're always looking either too clingy, as in anxious attachment you create, or you become really avoidant. You avoid people. Or like no, this person is a hazard because your parents were. Well, that is not how it works. Now we're going to talk about the last thing, which is how to combat this. How to actually combat this. Now, I think there are two conditions. There are two situations. There are people, there are parents that are psychopathic, okay? That have no solution at all. Like, for this, I think your best bet would be to genuinely shut your mouth up for as long as you stay at that place and be financially secure and just get the hell out of that house. That's literally what you have got to do if you have psychopathic parents. That's when a parent like abuses you physically, mentally, and psychologically, and in all ways possible, and they're not even regretful about it. They just feel like, yes, you deserved it, or it's our right to do that. That's when you know that you have psychopathic parents. Then there is another category which is like aggressive parents. It's when your parents like do something. For example, they're like abusive in their language, and then they feel sorry about it. They apologize to you. They at least feel a little bit guilty. I mean, not that this one is better than this one. No, it's not. It's just that on the spectrum, I think, yeah, it low-key is. In this aggressive category, what you have to do is you just have to tell them whatever you want to tell them when they are a little bit less aggressive, like when they are in the mood to hear that as well. So whatever new thing you want to introduce them to, you have to find the right time to do that. And I think for that you have to understand the psychology as well. So this is how you combat trauma, or at least what I think about it. And again, there are more aspects to it, but this is what I have finalized, and this is what I've come up with, at least. So I hope you have a great day. And also, all those who are watching this video, please don't have children in the future if you don't want to be a good parent, like genuinely, because you shouldn't see your children watching videos like these in the future. Okay, so yeah, have a great day.